Voicemails. You and I, voicemails. Guys, it is Wednesday. You know what time it is? It is voicemail time, where you guys get to go ahead and bring us your top concerns and comments and messages via the voicemail line, 908-845-5792. And we're here for you. Eves, Yankees lost yesterday. Bad game. They didn't like that.
One of their worst losses.
They've had a couple of those.
There's a couple of those. Every team does. So I don't know. I imagine there's some calls that'll be relevant to that. I haven't previewed them.
Right.
But Yanks, in general, doing well. Last night, they did not do well. I've got a new mouth. And Miguel Andujar's really hitting. And I haven't gotten to say that anywhere, but he's through 3 games like hitting for the A's, and that's been fun.
DJ's back.
Right. Imagine there's some calls around that.
Jason's also homering in the minor leagues.
Played 5 innings in center field today, I think.
Good. Let's get to the voicemails.
Monday's decision day on Dominguez, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to send them down.
Probably.
Yeah, Hughes is right. Our first call is about DJ.
Oh, by the way, shout to Alex Grappler in the corner over there. What's good? Almost forgot.
Thanks for that, Joez.
All right.
Hey, guys. Just wanted to know what your hopes and expectations were for DJ LeMahieu coming back. I kind of expect a slow start, but would love to hear your thoughts. The Yanks.
Well, my hope is that he hits. My expectation is that he'll hit until he gets up to the 7th spot, and then that'll be his nestling ground, the 7th spot, and that'll be fine. And then we'll go ahead and then we'll put, even though last voicemail I was like, oh, put him back at leadoff, and listen, Volpe has more than earned the leadoff spot.
Volpe got even hotter since
It's fine. We'll keep Volpe there. I am happy to be wrong about that. I don't care. There's people that have ego about that, and they want to be right so bad they wish failure upon their own team, which is weird energy. I'm not like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wish DJ to hit until he gets to the 7th spot, and then he can be able to then I feel like the lineup will be at most complete. It's most complete.
Yeah, I mean, DJ definitely unlocks a sort of next level of the lineup if he's any good. I expect him to. My expectations are he'll at least hit at a more or less league average level, like he has the last couple years on the whole, and he'll play a fine enough third base, and maybe he is a guy who you have Oswaldo or in a couple weeks or months John Birdie's back, and sure, there's defensive upgrades to be made late in a close game, but
Indeed.
I expect DJ to be the best hitter of those 3. I expect him to put together just good at bats, which he more or less did in the first game last night. So I'm optimistic about DJ. My hopes would be he returns to an MVP level, and the Yankees just added a third guy to Judge and Soto up top as far as MVP level players go. But expectations is to be more or less league average.
Oh, yeah. I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy if DJ hits like
especially
250, 260 at the bottom of the lineup right there. Hopefully he gets going.
With at least like doubles power.
Yeah.
Find some moments, put together at bats.
Be happy for that at the bottom of the lineup.
Hitting.
Would love that.
Don't be a problem on defense, which I would never expect him to be.
Never
but just
expect him.
for the sake of saying out loud.
Yeah, MVP DJ would be right on par with the 2024 Yankees, the way it's going.
The way it's going, he's due to just be MVP level again.
That'll be awesome.
Be cool. 800 OPS in second half last year, so that would be sick.
Speaking of things that are going, the Yankees pitching staff.
All right.
I like them.
What's up, fellas? This is Brian. I'm calling in with a pitching question. Obviously, our pitching has been electric so far this year. I'm happy with everyone's performance, but my question for you guys is rank our pitchers 1 through 5 based off of how you think they have done so far this season. Not based off how you think they're going to continue to do, but based off of their performance up to this point. How are you ranking them? I think it's hard because they've all been awesome.
Okay. I think this list is kind of easy for me. Number 1 is going to be Carlos Rodon.
Oh.
And the reason I'm saying that is because I don't think anybody else in this rotation came in with the expectation of having to carry, and having to rebound from their season. And he's pitched really well. So I'm going to go with that. Number 1. Number 2, I'll go with Luis Gil. Number 3, I'll go with Marcus Stroman. Number 4, I'll throw in Schmidt. And then Nestor.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm generally in agreement. And Nestor, by the way, even our group chat got a little hot on him last night after the first inning. Finishes with, on paper, a fine day. His ERA is 3.3. He's the low man in the Yankees rotation.
Yeah,
that's still 5, but
that's great.
He has been fine, but I do have him 5th among this group. I agree with Clark 4, but Stroman 3 for the most part. Stroman's this is sort of just what I expected from him, and a little bit when I'm asked to rank them, I'm a little bit thinking about expectations. I ain't mad at I'm not mad at all at ranking Rodon 1. I'm very open to that. I think he'd be number 2 for me, and Gil will be number 1, just because the expectations I had for Gil were. I wasn't somebody that was very high on him coming into the season. Like, I was excited to watch him, and he has exciting stuff, but I was expecting nothing, and he's been he's mirrored Garrett Cole's first 10 starts of last year.
Yeah.
So when I expect nothing and I get the Garrett Cole I was missing, you end up number 1 for me.
That's a good viewpoint. I think
But I love Rodon.
Yeah.
He is the one that had the most pressure of this group coming in to this season.
Correct. So he had all that, and then just kind of thinking about his own pressure as well, because he did not have a year that he liked last year, and to come into this season and do what he's done at the top of the rotation where he was expected to be, and then the other one is, of course, was not. They actually just broke camp with the rotation.
Yeah,
they weren't even the factor. They weren't if Garrett Cole was healthy, Luis Gil would not be breaking with the team.
He would have not even been
right.
Maybe there's a chance he got a bullpen day or
correct.
He would have been the Cody Poteet spot start, but he wouldn't have been getting an extended look as even a multi-inning weapon. I think there's a chance with his injury stuff they would have let him just be a reliever this year, potentially. Although I think this is his last optionable year, so maybe they would have let him stretch out in the minors. I don't know. But he wouldn't have been on a big part of the team to open the season. Maybe he could have forced the issue. But
speaking of the rotation, I know Sarah Langs put out a tweet today where she said the Yankee starting pitchers have gone 5+ innings and allowed 2 or fewer runs in 15 consecutive games, the longest such streak since the mound moved to its current distance. And that happened in 1893.
So for longest streak since they moved the mound back.
Right.
Because that was pitching was broken.
Since 1893.
Pitching's been so good. They've gone at least 4 innings in all 56 games this season.
Mind you guys, they had to move the mound down since then, and it still hasn't, even when the mound was higher, a staff didn't do this. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy
they've never had a day. They haven't had a game where the starter didn't go at least 4, which is to say there hasn't even been a complete blow up start.
The funny thing is that to start the year, the issue was length with the starters. Yeah. They were going short into games, and now here we are.
Yeah, during that early win streak, it felt like can somebody go 6?
Yeah,
you needed somebody to do it every time through. and they maybe got one each time. And now everybody's kind of going. Mm-hmm. They're continuing to not get lit up, basically, ever. It's it has been as much of a dream start to the season, especially on the pitching end, as we could have asked for.
For sure.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. What's it got?
We got another guy who's pretty good, Aaron Judge. And this caller, Jaden, thinks he is very, very good.
Yes, he is.
Joez and BBD, what's up? It's Caden from Plattsburgh, New York. Saying this in the middle of an Aaron Judge stretch that's as good, or if not better, than any stretch he's had in his legendary career. Simple question. If Aaron Judge decides to hang the jersey up today, per se, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he getting in? And if not, what exactly do you think he has to do in order to get in? He had his rookie year at the age of 25, so maybe the counting stats aren't going to get there. I don't know if he's ever going to get to 3,000 hits, or, I mean, it'd be cool if he did. But still, it's also one of the most dominant offensive primes in the history of the sport. So is Aaron Judge, as of right now, a Hall of Famer? And if not, what does he have to do in order to persuade the voters to get him in? Thanks, guys. Go Yanks.
Go Yanks. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer right now. If he does retire, he only has 891 games played.
Yeah,
Played
he
9
has
years.
He's under 1,000 career hits. He still hasn't hit his 300th homer. I expect that to happen this year. He is including this year, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He has like the 8-year peak for sure, but he'll need to spend time compiling.
If he gets to 15 years so like 6 more years, 6 more seasons.
Yeah, and like
which is
3
in his
more
contract.
that are like MVP level, even if there's a drop off.
Right.
I don't think all 6 would have to be MVP level, but like healthy, you put up numbers, you compile for that many years.
Yeah, he'll be a 6-time All-Star because this year.
Seems like he's heading there this year.
He's won an MVP. He's 2nd in MVP his rookie year, 4th in MVP last year. I mean, not last year. The year before he won his MVP. He's won a Rookie of the Year.
It doesn't help as much as I think some people will say it will help, but it would help if the Yankees win, like get a World Series or 3 or 4, and that will help. I don't think it'll do as much heavy lifting as it would in some other sports, but that'll give you a boost. But he needs to put in some years of compiling. You need to get to, and he's, for as amazing as he's been, he gets the late start. Like he debuts later than most Hall of Famers do. And he's a little over halfway to, I think, 500.
15 years at like similar numbers here. Like, how much time does he have left on his contract? He has a lot of time left on his contract. By the time his contract's finished, I think he'll be a Hall of Famer.
I think he is more or less on the path. He needs to stay healthy and compile and get a couple just like big numbers, because he has the peak years, which is the other part of the equation, is like having like a 8-year period as one of the very best players. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 more years left on his contract. So yeah, if at least 6 of those are like really good,
he might get to 300 homers this year.
I expect him to get to the 300 mark this year, which would be a big step, I would imagine, for his career. For a Hall of Fame case, he's going to want at least like 450. 500.
I think he could get to 500.
I think he can get to 500, but like we're saying, he's a little over halfway there, and he's already 32. Like if there is a fall off, See, there's a reasonable chance he doesn't get there, and that's not anything he did wrong.
Right.
Like, the late start, and he did all of college. He took a little bit to get to the big leagues that Rookie of the Year season. He's 25. So the peak years are there. If he can get another, if he can spend the rest of his contract being mostly healthy and being available to compile, he'll need to get to at least 2,000 hits, and I would imagine if Judge gets to 500 homers, I would assume that he's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I think that would be a target number. You can get in the Hall of Fame without that number, but it might not be.
I think
might
for
not
him,
be a slam dunk. Well, who knows where voting will be at then?
I think for him as a Hall of Famer, he came into the league at what age? 20.
He debuted at 24. 25 is the Rookie of the Year season.
Okay, so he'll debut at 24. I think by the time he's 37, you're already looking at him as he's like,
Yeah.
and he would be a forever Yankee, and then people will just be saying, "Oh, well, by when he retires, we're probably going to, like that's a Monument Park kind of career is what he's having right now."
Yes, 100% a Monument Park career. If he retired today,
Yeah.
the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum will not be
No.
inducting him. And I think you need to reach 10 years of service anyway to be like literally eligible, but
Right.
which he's due to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
Not
wouldn't
yet.
be a Hall of Fame if he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer if he retires right now because the Baseball Hall of Fame is particularly stingy.
Right. It is.
Great. That was all I needed to hear.
BBD, Joez,
Hello.
Talkin Yanks team. Can we give Brian Cashman some love and respect for this Yankees team? He was on the hot seat all off season. I included thought that it was time for someone new. Goes and makes the Soto trade. Granted, he did not include Luis Gil in the Soto trade.
Right.
Almost guaranteed that the Padres asked about him. Didn't include him. Verdugo, Soto, built the bullpen. Can we give him some love? Because again, it's awful quiet on that front for many Yankee fans. Go Yanks.
Well, that's good. I mean, yes, he was under fire because of a lot of stuff that happened last year, of course, and
But
the way
the
that
last
team
couple
was
of years,
built.
the way the team had been trending,
Right.
he was somewhat rightfully on the hot seat,
Right.
And that's saying as somebody who has always been a bit more pro Cashman than it feels like Twitter is. Like to an extent, I agree with hey, the Yankees are good every year, and that's really important. Be careful what you wish for a little bit. But without question, Cashman had an amazing offseason. And so far, every move has really worked, and not including Gil. Sometimes the best moves are the trades you don't make.
Right.
But-
You're right about that.
But yeah, Stroman's been good. Rodon finally making up for last year, which was a big part of, I think, a lot of Cashman criticism was that year one of the Rodon deal went so bad that, okay, year two, Rodon's been good.
I don't know if even there's a lot of stuff that has to do with luck being involved as well.
100%.
Cashman wouldn't have been able to tell anybody that Luis Gil was going to be doing this.
No.
He wouldn't be telling you that, for certainty, that Volpe would be doing this. He
would
would
have
have
said he'd be
that,
better.
Maybe he'll be better. He'll rebound another year under his belt, but I don't think he'd be doing this. And you just don't know what Soto would be coming into a new environment. You just don't know. But then,
there's a chance in this one season it could have been
bad.
It could have been Soto's worst season.
Right.
That happens to guys sometimes, and it would have been new league, new team, contract year pressure. Obviously, Juan Soto never seemed like the type of guy that would happen to, but you don't know till that you get to this point. And Soto's obviously been perfect. Verdugo playing to the back of his baseball card, but the dynamic he's brought to the team, and at the price point they acquired him for, which I'll remind you is nothing. They didn't really trade anything for him. Weisert's been actually pretty good for Boston, but not a piece of Yankee fans were like, can't believe you traded that for him.
Right.
And the other two guys they sent there are like kind of. I think Richard Fitz is like a top 30 like guy in the system. Like he's a prospect whose name you'd maybe hear if you're into prospects.
Mm-hmm.
But again, not a top guy. And Nicholas Judas, not in my book. Former 8th round pick, like not a top 30 guy. So they get Verdugo, who has been placed perfectly into the middle of this lineup and has like stabilized the outfield defense, because there's a chance the outfield defense was also going to be bad with Judge playing almost exclusively center field, and Soto, we didn't know what we'd be getting from the corner outfield, and he's blown away our expectations.
And Giancarlo's rebounded too.
Giancarlo's rebounded, which is a huge part of giving Cashman credit a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they stuck with him. That's one that so far is working.
So shout to Cash, man.
Shout out
W-Mans.
Cash.
W-Mans.
I will rarely like straight up be like Cashman's bad, because he's shown he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Dude's not stupid.
Right.
But they had a run of trades that didn't go well. This offseason, it feels like every trade through 2 months of this season has worked.
Yes.
I've liked everything so far.
For sure.
And they get Cole back, so he's about to get.
Yeah, Cole's about to come
more
back,
credit.
so I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there, and so is Dominguez. So we'll see. So good stuff, Cashman. Well played.
Good job, Cashman. He's been featured on this YouTube channel.
That he has. And now with Cashman sort of off the hot seat, there is another name in the Yankees fan office that is getting some flack lately.
What's up, guys? This is Lewis from New Jersey. A quick question: with the guys batting so well in the middle of the lineup, on an awesome tear, honestly, do you guys feel like those Hal comments and everything are kind of deterring from the traditional Yankee approach, which is, I mean, if the player's worth it, you open up that book, the checkbook, and pay it forward. Let me know what you guys think. Love the show.
What's he talking about? I'm sorry. I don't know what.
Is that just about the, like, Hal talking about, like, the future payroll stuff and how.
Oh, what you need to understand is that business-wise, he's looking at it as a businessman, not as a fan, right? As a fan, we want him to spend $1 billion a year on payroll, right? But business-wise, he doesn't feel like it's sustainable. At the end of the day, you got to understand the Yankees have their board also that they need to pay out, and they have other things, and they have overheads and costs and all of those things that they have to factor in, and they want to make a certain profit margin as well, because that also, is part of the upkeep and increases the value of the team year on year. So business-wise, he's looking at it at that. Like, I don't need to spend all of this money year after year. Now, him saying that, you got to understand a couple of things. He's also looking forward, which means he's looking at the forecast for the Yankee payroll next year, the year after that, and he's seeing what's on the team already. He's seeing that Judge is already signed. He's seeing that Giancarlo's here for 3 more seasons after this?
I think after this is 3 more years, yeah.
He's seeing that a lot of money's coming off the books. He's seeing that even though we're paying Soto $30 million this year already, they'll probably pay him another, maybe, let's just say another 15 at most per year on top of that. But a lot more money is coming off the books.
That's like kind of the little hidden little secret with playing like Yankees payroll games, is they all every year they have like someone's contract coming off and all that. Like, sure, yes, Soto's going to be, assuming we bring Soto back, which I'm willing to assume we do, call it $15 million more a year, $45 million a year. Sure. Well, maybe in saying this and trying to be mindful that he and Boris and Soto can get creative on a deal, whatever it's got to be. But they, 3 years in, Stanton will be off the books. Verdugo is making almost $9 million. That assuming he's not here, that's $9 million they were paying this year that will be off the books. Trent Grisham and his $5.5 million. He seems destined to be non-tendered after the season. We'll see how the year plays out. Like, that'll be off the books. Glaber, I think Glaber's $14 million off the books is the Soto difference right there, basically. I think, and then after next year, like Stroman his money will be off. You might be looking to add there. There's guys on ARB. There's whatever. Like, there's money that will come off naturally. I would imagine they find a way in one of these years to reset the luxury tax, and that'll be annoying. Hopefully they win before that happens, and we can sort of shrug it off. But
this is why it won't be annoying. The reason it won't be annoying is because a lot of the places that you would spend a lot in are kind of shored up, right? Like, you have your starting rotation, you have Rodon signed for a while. You have Cole signed for a while. This is why Clark Schmidt and Luis Gil's development is very important, as those are guys that now you don't need to, those are spots that you don't need to spend on for the rotation if they perform well. And that's saving you money, because those are players that are making, the league minimum or pre-ARB money or ARB money and whatnot, by the time we get there. And then you have Jason Dominguez, who will replace a Verdugo, assuming that he continues going. And if he doesn't, or whatever happens, maybe by the time Judge is transitioning to DH or whatever's happening there, then what will happen is that then you have a Spencer Jones also. And the Yankees still have some players in the minor leagues as well. I mean, not to name drop some people, but Agustin seems like he has a spot in a major league roster somewhere.
Seems like he deserves to have some sort of major league opportunity at some point.
Right. So then that's how you're supposed to build it, right? Like, people want to talk about the Yankee payroll. The 90s Yankees, part of the reason that their payroll was so high was because the core four was making a lot of money.
Yes.
Those are guys who developed.
It didn't. Obviously, I'm trying to say what it felt like, but it's not like that team was built on like adding and adding and adding. Like, they paid to keep their guys together.
Yeah. No, they paid to add.
They paid to add too, but but I feel like they
kept that core.
Grosser spending or whatever that people were actually mad at happened kind of post dynasty more than during it.
And they started to pay those guys, right? So they paid those guys, they kept those guys, but you're still always going to have to spend. But he's looking at it like bottom line wise, like, I don't think I need to spend a crazy exorbitant amount in order to be able to win. He's always felt that way. So we'll see. I mean, the Texas Rangers have something to say about that.
And that's a little bit just like, it didn't concern me at all on the Soto front. I think I would still expect that to happen. Maybe it's they don't do anything substantive with their money beyond that. But if anything, I think that more turned into like all right, I'm not going to think about, like, will they extend Volpe? I'm not going to think about, will they extend Dominguez? I think the Yankees have always kind of operated this way, but they might be more straight up telling us through that like, that we want those guys to be as cheap as possible while they're cheap, because we are a team that employs a lot of guys on, like, their big contract.
Yes.
Where, like, a team like the Braves, they see it more as, like, get these guys to, like, a mid-level, and maybe we can get a guy on a big deal at some point. Or, whatever it is, or just have those guys locked up and payroll's lower, sure. But I think, if anything, my takeaway from that is more about, Volpe probably doesn't get, like, an extension this winter, or neither does Dominguez. Like, they like having their cheap guys be cheap.
Okay. And that's fine.
Which is fine. That's how they've kind of always operated. Like, 2 times they deviated in... Like, my intense fandom was Sevy and Hicks and those situations, and not anybody's fault, but those situations just fell apart.
Cano worked out.
Cano worked out. He's the other one that they extended.
So we'll see. We'll see what they do for now.
Yeah. With things going so well, you got to find something to panic about.
Yep.
Yeah. It's worth thinking about, and Hal did say that somewhat unprovoked. Like, don't throw a wet blanket on this whole thing. Like, we don't have to talk about that. I understand that at some point you're going to not spend money. But, yeah, I'm not worried about it.
All right, next call is from Evan.
Joez, BBD. Good to talk to you guys. Quick question. This is Evan from Long Island calling in. I wanted to know, I've seen some teams, they've adopted these like home run celebrations that are so elaborate. Like the Mariners have that big trident, and Toronto, they have that like home run jacket. To me, it's embarrassing. It's kind of over the top, but, or do you want to see the Yankees do something like that? I'd love to get your thoughts.
I think it's more of a natural thing. I think it needs to come up naturally. There isn't something where you're like, I want to see it. I think it's like if it happens organically and then, it just it sticks and it's cool, then yeah, go ahead. No problem. I have no problems against it. I don't want to see something forced, but the Yankees are really good about that. Like the Tonight Show the Yankees did that. They homered or whatever it is, and they had that whole Tonight Show where he was interviewing them or whatever it is, and that was funny. But that's it. They just do what they'll do. Like I can't really. There's nothing for me to say about that. I don't know. Whatever comes up natural.
Yeah, it's got to be organic to be the most fun it can be. And the Yankees had never really forced anything like that. I guess they haven't really done anything with like a specific prop, but that I can remember.
Just that Tonight Show. That's it.
Yeah, and even then, that wasn't like a real camera that they had or something.
No, it was like a thing.
It was like the gum container, I think. Or he stood on that. Whatever. That was just like a thing they had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best version of those is something that's just like was around.
Show.
What about a big gavel? Bang it down in the dugout.
Gavel?
Those are in the chambers.
Yeah.
Hey guys, first time, long time. I was just wondering if you guys have any early trade deadline targets you're looking at. All right, I'll hang up and listen.
I don't know. I think that the obvious spot to look for somebody is for the bullpen.
Yeah.
I don't have the only targets out there. I don't know if they're, if they're going to be traded. That guy for St. Louis is going to be their closer. That's
yeah,
be,
and now St. Louis has been winning, and they're back in the.
You
playoff
see that
the
extra wild card is just introduces something totally different. So I just don't know who's going to be available. I think for that, especially for bullpen pieces, you got to see who's available. And I think Luis Gil will go to the bullpen eventually, so that'll help. But I think that the Yankees still do need another arm. I just don't know. I'm being super honest. I just don't know where to go from there.
Yeah. And I'm sure they will acquire some reliever. Maybe it's somebody we've heard of. Maybe it's somebody we haven't.
Maybe they'll get that reliever from that used to be a Red Sox that went to the White Sox.
Kopech.
Maybe they'll get Kopech.
He'd be on my list if you forced me to name some guys. You can check out the Marlins.
Still
they've
early.
Got bullpen options. Tanner Scott, sure, but yeah, they'll get some sort of bullpen. Maybe there's some sort of infield addition to happen if Glaber or Rizzo or something just never get going. But Glaber's been hitting, sneaky, just been hitting for a little bit now. I know the mistakes annoy people and all that, but he's just he's literally been hitting a lot lately.
Yeah.
Rizzo, if Rizzo really didn't get going, maybe they pursue a first or third baseman and DJ can play the other spot. But Rizzo would have to really not hit, which of late he isn't hitting.
Well, they could trade Glaber, move DJ over to second, and trade for a third baseman. They could do that if they want to go get Bregman.
Yeah, or you trade for somebody second base, whatever it is. But that's outside of bullpen help, which I think every team that thinks they're good is going to trade for a reliever at the deadline. That's kind of like a prerequisite. You'll get some reliever.
Yes.
After that, just maybe an infielder happens. That's all I can think of at this time. But an injury here or there, they're an injury away from being like, all right, we'll add a starter.
Right.
Like that can always happen. It's baseball.
Always looking for pitching. It's Brian Cashman.
Always.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Pitchers with multiple years, especially in the bullpen with guys coming off the books this year. That's where you should probably be looking if you're trying to do your scouting, is a reliever that's got years.
Yeah, I know a name some people were throwing around that isn't very likely because he has so many years was Ryan McMahon.
Yeah, his contract is so interesting because he makes kind of real money. Jake's been daydreaming on him for a while, and the Rockies have shown they might pay you to take him. So call and ask. He would be awesome. He is one that I would fall in love with, but his money's funny. He's got, including this year, he's got 3 years left after this year.
Funny money.
11.6 luxury tax hit. So he'd be awesome if the Rockies are open for business, and I have no idea if they are or aren't. They shouldn't be, but then again, are they planning to be like good 3 years from now?
Right.
Should they just try to get what they can for him? Are they dumb enough? Rude, but the Rockies have shown they might be the dumbest team. They paid the Cardinals to take Arenado. They've shown they're willing to do that. Are they willing to do that again? And then all of a sudden, like, Yankees. We're the Yankees. We'll give you a prospect for you to pay for us to have Ryan McMahon. Has got to keep those books down.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. That's one to dream on. I don't think it's impossible.
Interested in that. I'm not sure. I think it's still too early to look at trades. Way too early.
Especially on the position player front. Yep. Like guys, even the bad teams still need to like get through this season.
Yes.
All right, cool. I think we got time for one more here, and this caller is wondering where a certain Yankee prospect went.
Hey guys, where is Everyone Pereira? Is he still kicking? Like, what's he up to? Is he like Brad Osmus and just never seen? I don't know. Do you think that he's still valuable to this team, or does he have any trade value? How does he fit into this team? I don't know. Thanks.
Well, I think he's in AAA now.
He's in AAA. On the whole, having a nice season. He's batting .265. He's slugging in the 500s. I'm trying to find a pure OPS number. He has an 856 OPS in AAA this year, 118 WRC plus. Still strikes out too much and walks too little. But he's very toolsy. Like, he has some amount of value. He's still young. The hard hit metrics are there. I don't think the Yankees value him very much for themselves.
Right. He might be a trade candidate. I'm
curious if he could be like the headliner in a trade. I'm trying to look at his game logs this year and see if there's a recent stretch to brag about. He's kind of just been good. Yeah, kind of just been good all year in AAA. Strikes out too much. That's gonna be. That's a problem that doesn't usually get better by advancing a level.
Yeah, he's got other people also on top of him, totem pole wise, that in the minor leagues that would supplant him. Like
there's guys. Ahead of him in the organization are the three outfielders that play every day right now.
Right.
Then Dominguez and Trent Grisham, and then it's you.
I think he's a corner outfielder, not a center fielder.
I think he's played. I don't know what he's done this year positionally. I can find out. But he can literally play center field, and I think has mostly done that in the minors. Which I think the scouting report on him is that translates to he'll be a plus corner outfielder, can play center in a pinch. I think his MLB, he's probably a corner outfielder.
Yeah.
But I won't rule out center field for him. This year, He's played 13 games in center, 7 games in left, 11 in right. He's DH'd 9 times. So they have him moving around the outfield, trying out the different spots. Before this year, I know he had played more center field than anything else by quite a bit. That looks to be true. So I think he's trying to keep the center field ability, at least as like a on paper skill. And he passed the eye test as a corner outfielder last year. I was like, oh, that's normal outfield play.
Right.
But I don't think we're gonna see him.
Yeah.
I guess to answer the question.
I don't see that. All right. Well, guys.
He's having a nice year though down there. So maybe somebody catches that and says, I want that.
Maybe they'll want him. I don't know.
He's young. He's
young.
only
22.
Yeah.
22. Thank you guys so much for leaving us some voicemails. Appreciate that. You guys being part of the program. From Alex Scrap, BBD, and I. Once again, 908-845-5792. Leave us some voicemails for next time. Thank you guys. Peace.
Peace.